For a good part of 18 years, I've had a special interest in automotives. From cars, trucks, everything in between. It all started with a little game called Gran Turismo 3 for the PS2. Released in 2001, the third installment introduced a lot of graphical upgrades, and while the game had less cars than the previous installment, little me didn't care. I loved that game to death. One thing for me that was huge is that you could drive not just race cars, but some of the weirdest cars ever. Like, I could drive a PT Cruiser. My grandma had a PT Cruiser, and it was in that game. Little me, my mind was blown that I could basically drive my grandma's car. Now let's go back to realistic cars for a second. One car I eventually liked by playing more games was the Acura NSX, known as the Honda NSX in Gran Turismo 5 since it takes place overseas, and it was known as the Honda NSX overseas. The Acura NSX is one of the only Japanese cars with a mid-engine. The NSX was commonly known as the practical mid-engine sports car. You could actually kind of live with this one. However, it wasn't affordable, and that's why I eventually gave up on this dream. But I found other cars that I liked just as much. I eventually stumbled on some of the front-wheel drive cars instead of mid-engine sports cars. I've always liked front-wheel drive cars because I feel like they represent being able to be interested in cars no matter how much money you have. Front-engine rear-wheel drive cars or mid-engine rear-wheel drive cars are way more expensive than front-wheel drive cars that actually are faster throughout a track. Now, when it comes to car enthusiasts, most of them prefer rear-wheel drive over front-wheel drive and say that rear-wheel drive is just overall faster. However, I cannot disagree more, as front-wheel drive cars are affordable and also pretty good around turns. And this led to my current car that I have now. There she is. 2002 Dodge Stratus. A 2002 Dodge Stratus RT. I cannot get this car to pass inspection yet. It has a few tweaks, like I fixed the windshield wipers, so that works. I need to fix the headlights and an exhaust system which has a good amount of rust on it. However, I love this car, and something about it, the short throw stick shift, the roar of the engine, this car reminds me about what I like about cars. The rush of adrenaline, the roar of the engine, rowing gears on your own, and fixing up a car to actually work and run and get you places where you need to go and have fun while doing so. That's what I love about cars. And I feel like I shouldn't be ashamed about it. I love automobiles. And while, yes, they might be problematic to the environment, there's ways we can change that. We as a collective society can use more public transport so more people can actually drive cars outside of cities. They can actually drive throughout the mountains or the countryside, rowing gears and not having to worry about stop and start traffic. I love my car, and I think you should love yours too.